on one level, I think a lot of us tend to talk about what we need to do for ourselves, in terms of how we can improve. And on another level, we all talk about how we're all world citizens, how we all like to relate to each other, how it's good to live in a globalized society. But then there's this undercurrent that I think everyone's had this discussion about the developed world. Oh, those people over there messing around in our affairs, they don't know what they're talking about. I mean, what's your take? How do you approach that? Especially because, in some of the themes that you write about, some of the things that you've written about in your essays, and it even comes in some of your fiction. I mean, so where do we begin with that discussion? I'm going to get you into trouble, right?
Yeah. And the thing about this sort of thing is I say things, I run my mouth, and then 2 years later somebody says, well, Chimamanda, you said that, how do you? And then I'm like, I never said that. No, I think that the question of, I think it's a very complicated, and it's a very vexed thing. And it's not simple. I, for example, feel very strongly, and I feel very comfortable about this African identity that I have taken on. And I say taken on because, it's in many ways it's a choice that one makes. So I think I've made the choice to take on this African identity. I think that my politics in the past maybe 10 years has become sort of decidedly Pan-African. And again, it's a choice. So, I came to the US, I like to think I was fairly fully formed. I was 19, so I sort of wasn't a child. And I remember a professor at my college sort of reading an essay that I had written. Sometimes the professor wants to read one sort of the sparkling essay after the class. And then, and also I have to confess at the time, I had an English-sounding first name. So I don't think he expected me to look like I did. And so he read the essay and then he said, who wrote this? And then to confront me, he just thought, you? With the essay. And for me, it was one of those moments where you realize, it's a moment I will never forget, because I think that it was a moment that forced a certain identity on me. It was a moment that sort of made me aware of the baggage that came with that kind of identity and all of those things. And in some ways, I think because fiction is one's way of making sense of things that don't make sense. I think that informs my fiction, that whole idea of how what are you and what is identity and how does the world look at you and blah, 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 all of these things. But again, I don't set out writing fiction to make a point about how, about how the world is full of inequality, even though it is.
Right.
I mean, I really hope that I don't beat the reader over the head with my messages. I hope that they're a bit more subtle and a bit more complicated, because they always are. Things always are complicated. I mean, there's just never anything that is easy.
Right.
So on the one hand, you might complain that the professor was surprised that you could write a decent sentence, but then you find that the person next to you, who also looks like you, is surprised that you can write a decent sentence.